Alright guys, hello and welcome back to another episode. As you can see from the title today, this episode features the Caro Can. I just jumped on for a few blitz games, as you know, you get your daily games in. And so it was going very well. We had more wins and losses, couple of good, just very fluent, very good, smooth, playing off instinct. We won a couple of times on time. We created like a fort that enemy just couldn't get past, and we ran out the clock in a winning, sometimes in a losing position. But anyway, so we have two episodes here, one featuring a version of the Vienna. The second is a Caro Can. Both wins, both very smooth, but let's get straight into it, starting with the white pieces. That comes first. And here we have the Vienna game. I added the wee ELO bar here, this side as well, so you can see it. You might like that there. So starts off with Vienna. Now you don't often see this move. It's not very common. Usually I would get knight to f6 played against me more than anything. But in this, we immediately strike with the centre. Usually you would push another pawn here, but that opens us up to this check, which can be quite deadly. So it can. He pushes his knight out. We immediately take more space. But he, is able to land his knight in the centre, defended by his pawn, overlooking some vulnerable squares, and it's just in a relatively good position. Now it is an inaccuracy, but gives us a 0.1 advantage, while in this position, as you can see from the yellow, it is 0.9. Now why is it 0.9? It's 0.9 because I don't even know. Really, I don't even know why it's 0.9. This is the massive line that the computer gives. That keeps us at a 0.9 advantage. Trade off the queens, you take a lot of control of the centre, trade off a bunch of pieces, and we have the bishops for a bishop and knight. But that doesn't end up happening, so we jump out here, immediately re-attacking his knight. So if he takes, we can take back with check. And that is almost what happens. He blocks with his bishop, so we just snatch take anyway. We just take the knight because we want to get rid of it, and it creates these double pawns in the centre. Immediately snatch it up with the queen. Now we just have more development. The queen can become a target, but not as much now that this knight is gone, as that would be the first thing that targets the queen if you bring it out too early. So we continue development by bringing our knight out here. The reason I didn't go out to this square is because you're very limited. There's not many places the knight can go after it goes here, because the queen's blocking this square. That square is being protected. Here being protected, there as well. So we develop it out a different way to possibly replace our lost traded knight. In this position, I got a wee bit worried. As you see, there's a bit of usage on the clock, 16 seconds. I was thinking, like, is this a threat? Like, does he have anything there? No, we could take with the king or the queen. So instead, I decided to get the bishop out, attacking this square in case he falls back. I don't know what he was thinking with this move. I think, again, it was probably to solidify this, so if he trades, he gets his pawns in the centre. We attack his knight, it jumps back, and that's what happens. So we fall back. He moves his queen quite a lot here. We put our knight on the position we wanted, allowing us to castle over here while having all the pawns protected. He just makes a wee loft, preparing to castle on his queen side. So we castle, he attacks our pawn, but this just creates a weakness on the side that he is able to castle to, because here he'll need two moves and he only has two pawns protecting him. So he takes, we let him take. The reason we let him take is because, well, we took with the pawn. Now apparently the knight takes is better because you're attacking the queen with momentum, but we didn't go for that. So let's have a wee look at that line. So take, his queen drops back, we attack the bishop, and we just have a very immense attack going on here, so we do. But that doesn't happen. Instead, we take back with a pawn. This then creates the pin here that he blocks immediately with his bishop. After he blocks it, he castles. We bring the bishop out. I was trying to think of maybe if there's any tactics if we take, so say makes a wee move like that. If we take, he takes, like, do we have anything here? But we don't, unfortunately. We could go here, but then it just gets blocked. So we don't really have much. So in the end run, we didn't go for that, but he trades bishops, which I'm happy enough with. I was happy to trade the bishops in that position. He then attacks our queen. Now, if you've seen a few moves earlier in this position, we moved the king because I seen him possibly setting up this attack to pin our queen to our king. So we slided it over just to stop that. It's one of them. It's a waiting move, but it's preempting something. It's waiting for the opponent, expecting him to make a move. So he attacks the queen. We retreat, kind of get in on his position, attacking this pawn, going for the weaknesses. He drops his queen back, which is a brilliant move. Defends both the things that I'm attacking. But here we're going to just attack the bishop, also re-attacking this square. This is kind of where it goes wrong for him. It goes really wrong. So he I don't know what he's doing. He's planning to attack here, but that's defended 3 times. So there's no way he can win material that way. We attack his bishop, forcing it back. He forces it back to attack our queen. In this position, we decide to go for a queen trade, but he declines it, and as you see, he just hangs his queen. Did you see that? Like, I don't know what he was thinking. He must have thought that the bishop could go forward and protected it that way, but that's not how it works. So we take the queen and he resigns in that position. So that's not a bad wee one. I don't know. I think that was my first win. I could be wrong. But that was one of the earlier games we'll have with white. Now here, the Caro Can win. It's the 2 knights attack. So it is. So we go for the Caro Can. I like this wee move. This stops the bishop coming down, and people seem to get quite confused. They don't really know what to do, if they've just put the bishop here or here. So he immediately strikes in the centre. We decide to pin his knight. He blocks the pin. We then just cut off our bishop, making up for the light scored bishop that we are about to trade off. He jumps his knight in the centre, re-attacking our bishop, which is fine because we snatch up his white bishop. Now, yes, we probably shouldn't have, because his dark square bishop can just get into these positions, like because all our pawns are currently on light squares, or well, all but one lonely pawn here sitting on a dark square. So here I wanted to immediately go get rid of this knight in the centre. It was very strong. I didn't have any issues trading off the bishop for this. I know you really shouldn't, but we did. And as you see, the elo went there in white's advantage, but it's a weakness. It's a very strong weakness, or weak weakness, that can immediately be attacked, and that's exactly what we do. He tries to defend it with his bishop. We then jump out, attack the bishop. He re-attacks us here, so if we were to take and he takes, that's throws the advantage back our way, but here the advantage is back in our way anyway. I decide to go for a queen trade. The reason I go for a queen trade is because then we can get the bishop as well as getting the bishop. We do lose this pawn. It wasn't really a vital pawn, as our king is now at the opposite side. He's missing the g pawn as well, so it's not a big trade. But this cluster in the center can be a problem to deal with. So in order to deal with it, what I decided to do, we attack his rook. He snatches up another pawn, gets a bit greedy, so we go back, infiltrate from the back, putting pressure on his 2 pawns. We take. He then pushes his pawn, and here I calculated that if I take and he takes, if pawn takes pawn, we can we have pressure on both pawns after that. So that's what happens. We take, but he pushes. So this is what I calculated. I calculate take, and then we have 2 forms of pressure here on the pawns. He could go push. It would be our turn anyway, so we could just take. We could take here, so it worked out for us. But that's not what happened. Instead, he found this move and he pushes. Now, we move our knight out of the way, but he's 2 squares away from queening, which is really dangerous. He attacks our knight. We take the pawn there. The f takes e pawn. This opens up the file and protects it with our rook from behind. It's a hard move to see, because I was immediately thinking that's your first thought, but then take and then take and then take. So it would go, if we went take, we're losing the rook. If we went take, we're losing the rook. Well, it would be a trade of rooks. But again, that's check, and he's just queening. Well, apparently that's better for us. How's that so much better for us? But anyway, that's not what happened. What happens is we take with a pawn. He pushes, which is a mistake because now it's stopped. Here, this is where it gets very tricky. Like, watch this, you'll learn. Like, the computer says it's a blunder, but it's only a blunder if your opponent can find the move to go against it. So it's not who makes the last blunder, it's who makes the second last blunder. Here we blunder, apparently. Now the reason this is a blunder is because after he attacks and pins our rook to our king, if we take, he takes, he gets a queen, we take the queen. Now we're just down to knight, so we are. So it's not really, it's not handy at all by any means. So we would have lost the knight that way, but instead he could have taken. So if he then goes and he takes our rook, we would take back, and we're all handy dandy. He can come down to or try to promote, but that doesn't work because we can just take the pawn. So what actually ends up happening is he takes the knight, just blundering his rook and his most advanced pawn. So after this, he tries to make a second pass pawn. We just double up the rooks, get a trade off, and then it's a knight versus rook. Everything is going brilliant. We cut off his king, start to try hunt down his knight, but it's just giving loads of checks. He's snatching up our pawns. Be careful not blunder any fork sets. If you watch my time usage, I was watching out for any forks as possible. We bring our king forward. After we bring our king forward, we completely cut off his king with our pawns. After that, it is just as simple as, well, would that be, oh, because we're in check here. So say he made a different move and he went, say he went backwards here. That's just mate. That score is just mate. So it is. Because the pawn, the pawns are completely cutting off all the circulation as king. So it gives us a check instead. And after the check, we just keep hunting it down. We go back. I don't know what he was thinking here, really. I had no idea. We still had mate in 1. This is still mate in 1, but I didn't see it. If you have mate in 1, go for mate in 20. And that's exactly what we do. Well, it wasn't necessarily a 20, but we'll give up a queen. He then pushes. Now, obviously, if I pushed here, he could have taken. Would have lost the other queen. So instead, we brought the king. He then has to make a move with his king. Again, this isn't mate because this is the only square he can go to. And we're aware of that. He tries to repeat moves, tries to get a stalemate, but in this position, we force him back out. We make the queen that's defended now by the rook, and then it's just a simple, nice ladder checkmate, and we win with an extra second on the clock. That was a nice and smooth Caro Can game that ended on, well, it ended in a mate in 1, but with an advantage of the opening. So when did the opening finish? This is when the computer's saying the opening finished, and white has the advantage. So white has the advantage in this possession, but we've played, and you can't see it here off screen, 474 games at the Caro Can. 474! We've won 54% of them. That's 255 wins with 20 draws and 199 losses, which is an amazing return, I think. And that's just from playing it over and over and over and over again so many times that you'll kind of just get a wee bit more instinct. You'll learn your patterns, you'll learn the best moves and positions. But anyway, guys, I am going to try start a new wee series, openings for 1000s, chess openings for 1000 elo, or kind of title it something like that, where I show some of the games that I just games that I play, openings that I come up against most, openings that I play. So the Vienna, the Caro Can, the King's Indian I'm not really keen on, I'm not the best at. The Cow opening I'm not the best at. One of the other openings was the Queen's Pawn, Queen's Gambit. Queen's Pawn Gambit. That was one of the first ones I played with the most. I have a couple of 100 games on that. But anyway, guys, yeah, that's been it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a comment on what opening you would like to see as the first video. Caro Can is definitely going to be one of them, as it's one of my favourites. It's one of the most played ones. And, it suits so many different levels. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye-bye.